Alrighty, got a bit of a different video today. Let's turn this music off. Alright, so, yes, I'm on a walking treadmill. For anyone wondering, I'm not off my head, although I've had quite a lot of caffeine. But, Sunday, I like to do a lot of reflecting on Sunday. I find that throughout the week, shit gets busy. Sunday is definitely like a lot less meetings and things, so it's usually a good time to kind of self-reflect, whether that's reflecting on the business in terms of stats, data, things like that, projection setting, or whether it's personal reflection as well. So what I wanted to do is run through a video kind of going over my 2025 reflection. Did I hit my goals? What goals did I set? What do I think went well? What do I think didn't go well? So I'm going to be running through that here. Then I'm going to be running through 2026 and painting the vision. So who am I becoming? My step-by-step plan for 2026, how I'm making sure that I'm going to be acting in congruence with who I want to become and who I want to be. And then I'll get into this at the end, but my big goal of $1 million a month, and why I kind of set that and why now I feel like is a time to kind of run through it all. So I don't really have a set structure to this video. There's a lot to run through here, but if you're interested, buckle in, grab a coffee, and let's get to it. So I think the most important thing is, how did 2025 go? Well, it was a big fucking year, to say the least. I had a lot of really big goals at the start of the year. And honestly, upon reflecting about it, yes, I had a lot of things. I've got a video here, for example, kind of my alchemy of self, which I did 2 years ago now. So you can check that out on YouTube to kind of see the progress there. So that was 2 years ago. I made that video kind of end of December. I think it was even start of January 2024. But really, those kind of goals that I set then were almost like, yes, I hit them all within the year, but I didn't really then reassess and reflect properly in 2025. Shit was just like happening so quickly. I had some goals down on my phone in terms of what I wanted to achieve. So if I just pull those up really quickly, in terms of my 2025 goals, um, I wanted to run 100 kilometers. These are my goals here. I wanted to sub 3:15 marathon. I wanted to be consistent, lean, and muscular physique. And I wanted to have $250,000 in personal income. I wanted to be able to network and expand my, network of high value people. I wanted to leverage a personal brand to expand network and opportunities. I wanted to read a book a month. I wanted to learn Spanish. I wanted to go all in on my personal brand with YouTube and Instagram, and I wanted to travel around the world. And I wanted to hit $1 million profit with the business. So, and also systemize, automate, and delegate a lot of the business as well. So I would say I probably achieved about 50% of those. And I'll run through exactly what I did and what didn't go so well. So yeah, in terms of 2025, I think it's good to kind of reflect here. So I'm going to be running through this document later in the video as well in terms of my goals for 2026. But I think to start off and kind of almost encapsulate this entire video into one kind of notion and one trait, it would be that I need to be relentlessly consistent this year. I have no issues being relentless, but I do so with consistency, if I'm being completely honest with myself. I feel like I'm really extreme in my approach to a lot of things, but it hasn't landed me where I want to. And look, I'm being super self-critical on myself, and I think that's another thing that I'm very thankful for about myself, is that I've got the ability that, I can work 12, 15 hours one day, but, or have a really dialed in diet, or things going really well, but well, it's kind of it's a double-edged sword. It's a pro and a con. I think I've got high standards for myself. I like having high standards for myself, but I guess as well there's being proud of your accomplishments and things. But anyway, that's a bit of a different point. But compounding interest is kind of the long-term key to success here. Need to be 1% better each day rather than a 50% jump one day and then the next day being flat, or even going back. It kind of just then averages out to your standard. So my goal is, and what I'm committing to myself is that I will commit to relentless determination, regardless of how I feel or internal, external circumstances, regardless of what's happening around me, my emotions. I'm just going to be relentless of how I do things. Even if I don't want to do the work, I'm just going to do it. And I need to be consistent in pursuing my goals. I will not waver to what others think or fleeting emotions, and I will sacrifice for my goals, or the goal will ultimately become the sacrifice. And I know what I want, and I'll do what is required to get there. And I think that's probably been one of, if not one of the biggest things I've learned, even the last couple of weeks, to be honest, is that I'm just learning more and more. I don't give a shit what anyone else thinks. And if I want to go do something, I'm going to go fucking do it. And that's going to come into my point down here about I just want to fucking earn $1 million a month. Do I need that much money? No. Do I fucking love the game? Do I love the process? Do I want to challenge myself? Fuck yes. So I'm going to go out there and do it. But if I'm being completely brutally honest about 2025, what went well this year? Well, hired some really good people. Okay. Hired some big positions, including like a client success manager. Shout out to you, Bradley, if you're for some reason watching this. But yeah, like a lot of people out there. We've got good sales team as well. Obviously, this is just one example here. We've got sales reps now taking sales calls and things like that. We've got a client success manager dealing with clients, getting back end upsells, referrals, things like that. I mean, this month alone, we're 18 days into the month, and have already passed $100,000 this month. So shit's rolling, shit's to going well, and I think that's one thing that I'm super proud of is that we learned to delegate roles to get to the next stage of business. There's a point where it's like you can kind of go from like, if you're here, and this is point zero, to get to whatever that may stage one, whatever that may be. That may be 10k 10k a month, for example. Excuse my really shit drawing. This keep out is a bit tough. You can do that by yourself, right? But to get from 10k to 100k a month, for example, you need a team. Okay, you need a team. I'm just gonna go. Fuck me. We'll go like that. Team. Okay. And you need a team to get to 100k a month. And I think that's one thing I'm really proud of is like learn to delegate roles to get to the next stage of business. And that's allowed us to become more and more detached from low leverage tasks through hiring, through creating systems. Another big thing as well is that Hugo, my business partner, and we learned to split responsibilities a lot better. So I'm taking care more on the back end operations in terms of client success, in terms of client fulfillment. Hugo's taking care of the marketing and front end sales, right? Which are two equally important things. And that's the good thing about having a partnership is that we can kind of split those responsibilities and go 100% in on things. I'm also really thankful and kind of proud of myself, and what went well last year is that invested a lot in business growth. So we spent $15,000 on a business program, which has been by far one of the best things that we've ever done. And I think just really the point of being able to go through and identifying what went well here is that we want to be able to repeat these successful actions moving forward. In terms of personal, I became a fucking lot more self-aware and a lot more aware of universal principles. I don't know if you're someone that watches shit, whether you're aware of like universal principles of the world and how that shit works. You may be listening to me right now going, what the fuck are you talking about, Sam? But I guess even just like things of like understanding about cause and effect relationships within the world, how energy works, how, things are constantly changing, or around how beliefs work, identity works, emotions, actions. It all kind of stems down to universal principles, right? I'm not going to get into that in today's video, but, read a lot of books, whether that's reality transurfing, parallel universes of self, understanding that there's different selves and that we're forever changing, right? And I'm going to get into that in a bit when I go through who am I becoming, okay? Some other things, I expanded my info diet a lot. What I mean by info diet is just like entrepreneurs, books, things like that. I read quite a lot. I listened to a lot of podcasts, especially the back end of last year. Went through big stage of walking and listening and taking in a lot of information from people that I want to emulate and be successful like. And I feel like that kind of made my character more malleable into who I am becoming and who I want to be. I ran 100 kilometers, which was a big goal of mine. And each month, to an extent, I felt like I made some form of progress. And I know it's pretty cliche to say, but even if a month necessarily didn't make progress in terms of the business from a revenue standpoint, or I felt like kind of went back in terms of my physique or something, I always came out of it learning something. So I never see opportunities as something where like nothing bad happened to me. And I kind of hold a universal belief that bad stuff doesn't happen to me. I feel like I'm the luckiest person in the world. And that's because it's just the way that I perceive my reality. Even if something bad did happen, even if our business crashed down to zero, I know that I'd be able to get it back to a point where it would be better than what it is now. Or I know that if, a health ailment or something came along, or if I fucking broke my legs or whatever it fucking is, I always know in the future that no matter what, I'm going to be making more money when I'm older. I'm going to be um, more healthy. I'm going to be more, as vain as it is, more attractive. I'm going to have more in life because I come from a mindset of abundance. Okay. And I know that the work I'm putting in now is bettering my future self. I'm also really happy. I kind of, again, coming on a point that I was making earlier in the video, is that I got over a big limiting belief of mine and a big fear of mine about what other people think. I can, there's always still that fear of like what others think, but I can say it's a night and day difference between now and what it used to be. Um, I used to think I never gave a shit about what people think. I'd read books like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and I always feel like I'm a pretty confident person, but there's always that subconscious limiting fear within me. Well, that was within me and still probably is to an extent, of like, oh, I wonder what that person thinks. I feel like through a lot of repetition and actions now, I've kind of gotten to a point where I feel a lot more comfortable within myself. And also, I just don't give a fuck because I can now see so clearly with who I am becoming. And I'm going to get into this in pain and the vision of who I am and how I'm going to get there. But I can now clearly feel, and it's almost like I know it's actually happened, is what I'm getting to. And I'll get to this in a bit, but like, I already know I'm that person that's making $1 million a month. I already know that I'm in excellent health. I've got a six pack. Am I making $1 million a month right now? No. Do I have a six pack right now? No. Am I rich right now? No. Can I, at the snap of a finger, travel around the world anywhere I want? To an extent, yes. But could I do it first class? Could I fucking XYZ? Can I financially be able to provide for others? No. Do I know I'm becoming that person? 100%. And it feels so tangible. It feels so real. There's like a cause and effect with reality, right? And the cause is the identity. The effect is just the delayed time with it. So, big tangent off that point. But again, it all kind of comes back down to the same universal principles, the same self-awareness, which is that I became a lot more self-aware. And through that, I was then able to get over my fears of doing a personal brand. Might get over my fears of posting stuff like this on YouTube. Yes, like I said, I feel like I'm naturally pretty extroverted with things, but even making this video is scary to me. I'm literally detailing my biggest fears, my goals, like who I want to become, who I am now, why I'm not certain things. I'm publicly saying to the internet and to my future self that I'm going to be making $1 million with certainty. Is that scary to me, knowing that like, okay, there's a possibility that, oh, maybe I'll fail. Maybe I'll look like an embarrassment. Yes. But again, it comes back to the point of I'm more self-aware now and I've got a lot of conviction within myself. And at the end of the day, I don't give a shit what anyone else thinks, because the regret of not living my life in accordance to those principles and to those notions is my biggest fear in life. And that's another thing that I learned last year and what went well. I feel like I built really good, deeper connections with friends and family. Um, yes, there's definitely times where, you got to say no to things, but I still feel like I balanced it really well. I still see my friends a lot. Do they probably think that I could see them more? Yeah, I'm sure they do. But you know what? I've got goals to get after as well. And I still deeply, deeply value and love all my friends and family. And I'll always check in on someone and I'm always there to support them. I believe that I'm very selfless. I may be very selfish, but sometimes you need to be selfish to be selfless, right? Because it's going to allow me and allow my future self to be in a position to be more selfless. It's like a great analogy that I always reference to is like when you're on a plane and they always say put your oxygen mask on first before then helping others, because if you don't have a fucking oxygen mask on, how the fuck are you meant to help someone else if you're dying? You know what I mean? Like you need to be in a position to be able to help yourself first. I felt like I was able to learn and control my emotions a lot better. I became a lot more mature in the process. Um, I feel like I leveraged my networks and opportunities well. I mean, I was in Bali for 3, 4 months, met incredible people, incredible mentors, incredible friends. Online as well, networking with certain people. Started learning Spanish again, which was a big goal of mine. I traveled around the world. I went to Cape Town, Bali, India, Singapore, Malaysia, around Australia. Yeah, this year's gonna be fucked though. I mean, off to Dubai in 2 weeks, South America, Colombia, Argentina, Peru, Mexico, the States, then off to Europe, a few countries there. Go to Japan at the end of this year, probably. Probably do a boys' trip with all my mates somewhere as well. You know what? Shit's good. Anyway, read over 12 books, which was the goal, but I wasn't very consistent with it. I learnt the importance of rest, recovery, and sleep. This has been a big one, especially recently. Um, is that oftentimes I go really hard and burn out a bit. So again, that kind of comes to my point of just being relentlessly consistent. I finished university, which was a huge thing for me. Funny story is I'm actually really against universities now, but during school I studied like a bit of a fucking maniac, um, and did fairly well. And it was a big goal of mine to get into this university course that I ended up getting into. Within a year, I realized how fucking shit it was, but ended up finishing it regardless. So, you know, pretty funny making like $50,000 a month, still being in university. Um, running a business on the side. But yeah, I got it done at the end of the day. Was it tough? Fuck yeah. But I'm pretty proud about that. Um, and then, yeah, I limited myself going out. Definitely tamed it down a lot, reduced a lot of alcohol, drugs, things like that. From time to time, do I still like to have a little blowout? Yeah, of course. But I'm kind of learning more and more the importance of energy, and I feel like that's through becoming a lot more self-aware. My desire and lust for doing those things has significantly reduced. Is that me becoming a bit more boring? Maybe, or is that me just becoming a bit more aware of myself and aware of what I actually value? I'm going to go with the latter. Um, so that's kind of what went well last year. What didn't go so well this year? Well, I didn't achieve my goals. I didn't get the consistent lean and muscular physique with six pack abs that I wrote down. I didn't dial in my, looks maxing protocols and diet, which I know is just a very fucking cliche way of like, I just wanted to look healthy. I wanted to look vibrant. I feel like I fluctuate between that. It doesn't help when I'm working fucking 12 hours a day, getting up at 6 a.m., going to bed at midnight, like shit like that. It does play an effect on your stress and your body, and you can see it within your eyes, you can see it on your face, not feeling as vibrant, not feeling as tan, not feeling as like lively. And I think there's periods where it is going to be like that, and I'm okay with that if it means getting to the goals that I need to get to. But I think another big thing I've learned as well is that less is more, right? Addition by subtraction. Um, I didn't save my money very well. I spent a lot of money. Do I regret any of it? Fuck no. I spent a lot of it on experiences, on traveling, on living overseas, on I didn't think I did anything necessarily that was like a complete splurge and I was kind of reckless with my money, but I definitely didn't save much money. I was very much paycheck to paycheck. But again, that's part of the process, right? And I definitely didn't prioritize my sleep. I tried to be a hero and I had a huge ego around it. And to be honest, it's still something I'm really trying to learn. All of this is at the end of the day. It's not like there's anything new here. It's just kind of repeating successful actions at the end of the day and addition by subtraction. Um, how can I set higher standards for myself? This was a good question to reflect on because, again, becoming more self aware and aware of the universal principles and things. Um, I think, yeah, a big thing for me is less is more. I recently got a health coach back end of last year, and it's been really good in terms of just like, of course, like the training side of things, the mindset, the health, that's all great. But I've also learnt a lot of transferable skills from it. Big one as well is that I used to train 6 days a week in the gym. I would run every day. I would do high rocks. I would do everything. But if you were to look at me, you would go like, it doesn't look like you do that, Sam. I mean, I don't have a six pack abs. I don't have this. And I kind of just realized I was burning the candle too much and I wasn't actually feeling, I wasn't doing the necessary things to become that person. So I kind of tamed it down a bit now. I'm doing a lot of walking, hence on the treadmill, right? I've dialed in my diet. I know that now really the importance of being lean is through consistent and healthy approach to food. It's about limiting the amount of calories. It's about eating good quality food. So I spend 300-400 a week on food at the moment, and it's just like high quality steak, high quality eggs. I don't eat any shit anymore. Okay, well that's a lie. I do from time to time. Still something I'm working on, but I definitely have a lot more healthier approach to my health and fitness. Another thing as well is I need to take extreme ownership of my choices and actions. So I think one thing that I sometimes think is that things just may happen, but that's not always the case. And it's actually never the case. There's a clear cause and effect relationship within like the reality that we live in, right? So, you know, for example, if you do 15,000 steps a day and you eat under 2,000 calories and you're healthy and you're getting sunlight, that is the cause. The effect is you're going to be in shape. And sometimes I would think, oh, it's just going to happen, or we're just going to grow the business, or oh, I'm just going to get a six pack one day. That shit does not fucking work, okay? You've got to put the effort in to get the rewards from it. Another one is positive thoughts. I'm very much so a positive thinker. But there is definitely times where I catch myself out. And one of my standards now is like every second thought has to be positive. It's okay to have negative thoughts. That's human, okay? But it's about what you think after that. It's the first thought and then that delayed gap in between, okay? That's where you got to make the conscious effort to go, no, this needs to be a positive thought, okay? So it's just constantly rewiring my circuit thinking. What values, again, purpose, I'm not going to go too much into this, okay? So that's kind of how 2025 went. So overall, it was a big year to say the least. But more so, what the purpose of this video is who am I becoming in 2026? And I did a lot of reflecting over the Christmas period about 2-3 weeks ago. And I'm constantly, like I said, becoming more and more self-aware. The more dialed I get in, the higher my frequency, the higher my vibration, the more aligned I feel, the more congruent I feel with the person that I'm becoming. So it's forever changing, right? So I feel like now I'm at a point in my life where I've got some good momentum. I've got some really good momentum. And I've got some really good foundations. And I guess if I was to wrap up what 2025 would be in one word, it would be stable foundations. I've got a good team of people, got a good business, got a good self-awareness now. I've got a good baseline, okay? I've got a good understanding on myself. I've got a good understanding of the skills, strategy, and tactics that I know I need to employ to get to that next level. So what is 2026 about for me? It's about being relentlessly consistent. But if I was to break those two words into one, it's being relentless. And what does relentless mean to me? Well, it means attacking, okay? It means speed. It means not overthinking things. It means fucking grabbing it by the balls and just running after it. I've got a newfound dislike for people that are slow. Like, it really pisses me off now. I want to fucking act with speed, and if people aren't on that level, then I'm just going to have to fuck them off, because speed and conviction and being aggressively relentless, from what I've learned and from my own self-experience and from reading and from looking at successful people, is key. So that's the first thing. The second thing is consistency. And they're kind of both, it's a dichotomy, but they're also kind of polar opposites in a way. It's that I need to be consistent in my approach as well. I need to do the daily inputs to become that person. I need to do the daily inputs to grow the business. So, for example, a prime example is I want to get in shape. Well, I know I need to hit a certain amount of exercise or daily steps, which is one of the mechanisms by which to get exercise in, right? Is walking. And I know I need to eat clean. I need to be in a calorie deficit. Okay. That is the consistency side of things. So pairing those two, relentlessly consistent. So who am I becoming? Getting to the point, right? Well, I want to be person. Well, I'll run you through it. This is my alchemy of self. Very similar to this video here, which I made 2 years ago. I've made a new one. And what does this person look like? What do they do? What do they think? What do they achieve? How do they walk? How do they talk? How do they act? How do they think? I've written it all down because I know who I'm becoming. And I think the most important thing is when deciding on goals and things, you need to have a clear direction. Okay? You need to have a clear North Star. And for me, right now in my life, the North Star may be forever changing, but I've got a clear direction on who I want to be and how I'm going to get there. So that's what I'm going to run through the rest of this video. I know this is a bit of a longer video here, but again, I don't make these videos for anyone but myself. And if you are finding some value in this, drop a comment, let me know what you think. And yeah, we'll go through it. But this is kind of my vision board, you could say. This is what I want my life to look like. This is who I want to be. This is who I want to be around. This is what I want to have. So yeah, I made this on the 29th of December. And no, I don't read it twice a day. No, I didn't make up this system myself as well. Just prefacing both of those. But I guess the first goal is obviously to get to 250K a month. So I like to remind myself that that is fucking pathetic and that millions of people have done it before. I think, well, the US Labor Business classifies any business making under 40 million a year as a small business. I got too much of an ego to be classified as a small business or a small anything. I think as well, looking up to other people like Elon Musk, they're taking them to fucking Mars. And I think building a 250K a month marketing agency is hard. It's not. Same as $1 million a month marketing agency. It ain't. There's a couple of important things that I like to remember here. Kind of all goes back onto who I am becoming. And I'm not going to read through these now, but there's some good lines in here that I like to remember. Probably the most poignant one is like, doesn't matter what is true, only what you believe is true, because with work that will become true. Your thoughts create your beliefs become your reality. The universal theory of everything and the master algorithm of evolution is beliefs, actions, results, feedback. You must intercept your own algorithm at the belief stage, take massive actions with your new belief, experience the results yourself, listen to the feedback, and then reiterate again and again and again each time to perfect the process. So these are kind of like little, you could say, mantras that I tell myself to really reinforce these notions of becoming self-aware, because I know that if I can influence my beliefs, that will then influence my actions, that will then influence the results I get, and I can reiterate the process again and again. It's almost reverse engineering who I want to become, because that's what it is at the end of the day. Who I am becoming is about reverse engineering it. Okay, so a lot of people think about things as like, I want to be this person, but they haven't actually thought about what it takes to become that person. Okay. So yeah, just important things to remember. These are kind of my non-negotiables. Don't hit the snooze alarm, limit my phone time, read, get the sun. I fucking love getting out in the sun. Cardio, weights, laugh with friends and family, good food, water. Second thoughts have to be positive. I need to be grateful. I need to read my Alchemy of Self journey, this thing, get clear on my goals, make the subconscious conscious. Okay. So, in terms of my goals for this year, I want to really increase my health. And what I mean by that is my metabolic health, my hormones. I want to visibly be healthy. I want someone to look at me and go, wow, this person is healthy. Not just in good shape, not just a six pack, not just muscular, but healthy looking. Like, radiates this vibrancy of energy. This, like, when I want someone to talk to me, I want them to be like, wow, like come away feeling inspired having spoken to that person, which is me at the end of the day. I want to be him. I want to be that person that empowers others, that you kind of get that sense of energy. I'm sure we've all had it before where you talk to someone and you leave that conversation feeling motivated. You leave that conversation feeling inspired. I want to be the embodiment of that. I want people to talk to Sam and go, wow, Sam's making $1 million a month. He's in excellent shape. He's very caring. He looks after others. He's got time to speak to people. Wow, he really helped me out with XYZ. Okay. So that's kind of one thing in terms of health and relationships and things like that. In terms of wealth, by the end of the year, I want to be doing $500,000 a month USD. And I actually recently changed this today, which kind of goes on the point of that the baselines are ever increasing. But I realized that we're going to be doing close to 150,000 USD by the end of this month. And to then set the goal of what was 250,000 USD, that's only not even double what the start of this month will be. And I realized one thing that I do not want to tolerate anymore. Okay. I want to be intolerable to mediocrity. It's two things that I dislike actually. Is being slow with shit now, and also being tolerable to certain things. I don't want to be tolerable to my own limiting beliefs. I don't want to be tolerable to other people's beliefs on me. I don't want to I don't want to be seeking validation from others or have other people do things before I have to hit it. I don't want to see someone else hit $500,000 a month for me to think it's okay to then have that goal. I just want to go out there and be the first to fucking do it if I have to. It goes back to that point of like the 4 minute mile, right? No one knew that the 4 minute mile was possible until one person broke it. And then thousands of people have done it since. Okay. Why should I be tolerable to the own ceiling that is imposed upon myself? I don't want to be. I just don't accept it anymore. My newfound belief that has been recently really reinstilled, like honestly today, I was watching a couple of things. I don't want to be tolerable to that shit. I don't want to have a ceiling on my own beliefs. So I'm fucking going out there and I'm going to make $1 million a month. I'm going to make it. I want to buy a Rolex because I think it's a fucking sick achievement. And yeah, I just want to kind of, the rest of this stuff's pretty self-explanatory, right? So this is what I want my life to be. I want to be masculine. I want to be a point of a figure for other people. I want to be free. I want to be sophisticated. I want to be spiritual, respected, powerful, and caring. Okay? So who is that? Who is that vision? How do I become that person? Okay? Well, firstly, you got to question, who am I right now? And understand that just like these universal principles here that I kind of run through, I'm forever changing. So in terms of my health, I need to be this person here. I need to act in alignment with that. In terms of my wealth, I need to be like that. I need to think that I already have it before I do. I need to act in alignment, okay? I'm not chasing towards this person. This person is coming to me, okay? I am becoming this person. Who am I becoming? I'm becoming it, okay? In terms of lifestyle, relationships, spirituality, the same things there. I need to act as if I'm already that person, as if I already have it. When I look at my bank account now, I look at it like this. I look at it as if $1 million, okay? When I'm thinking about my physique and things, I need to look at myself as if I already have it, act in accordance with that, because it's only a matter of time until it does. And I think with the momentum and frequency that I have now, and I've had plenty of times before, it really does happen. And I think I've instilled that belief in myself through the last 2 years of like, okay, I set out the goal to make $10,000 a month and I've done that. I set the goal out to do XYZ and I've done it. I have that self-conviction in myself and I just want to fucking double down on it. Like I said earlier, I want to grab it by the balls and fucking run with it. And I'm so sick of limiting myself otherwise. And I'm sick of people and other things telling me otherwise. If I want to go out there and earn $1 million, I don't have to justify that to anyone. I'm just going to go fucking do it. Okay. And I know I'm being very vulnerable right now. I'm very vocal and very passionate with what I'm saying. That's because it's exactly what this video is, right? This is, like I said, I'm detailing my goals. I'm detailing my limiting beliefs. I'm being vulnerable so that hopefully I can look back on this and reflect upon it and see if I've actually lived up to what I said I was going to do and who I wanted to become. And also so someone can potentially feel inspired. And I guess that's what I want to be. I want to be a masculine, inspiring person. I want to be able to bring people together. So I guess that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to act in accordance through this video even, right? So that's who I'm becoming. And are there going to be days that I don't feel like doing the certain things and stuff? Of course. But again, that's where I need to be relentlessly consistent. Some affirmations I say to myself, and then kind of my manifesto there. All right. But speeding things along a bit here, how am I going to execute this? Okay. Well, I've got a step-by-step plan. Okay. And these two documents kind of work in parallel. I'm going to run through it. I first think it's important to understand the vision. So who am I becoming? Who do I want to be? And I've got a clear picture of that. And when I look at these things, there is a spark of emotion that come from it. There is a spark of like, oof, yeah, I can feel that. I can see that. I want to be that. Okay. So that's the first thing. Get really clear on like, what do you actually want? Well, who am I becoming this year? Like I said, 250K USD a month agency owner, 500K, 500 fucking K. I want to think big. I want to think fucking big. So I want to be fully decentralized from the business. Not because I don't enjoy it, but because I want to have systems in place to allow us to grow to that point. I want to be lean and healthy. I want to move out of home. I'm going to live by these laws of relentless consistency, being lean as law, and addition by subtraction. And why this matters to me is I want to feel proud of myself and align with my future self, knowing I will become that person. I want to act in alignment to that identity to become the person that is able to achieve the goals, to do what I say I'm going to do. And because it's going to give me the freedom and opportunities to live life in congruence to those goals, to the vision, to what I want to be, to who I am becoming. So kind of broken it down into Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. Q1 for me, so that from January to March, is all about client acquisition and new cash. And it's also about consistency in terms of my health, okay? Build the habits to act in alignment. So obviously one habit is walking. I've got a walking treadmill. I'm acting in alignment with that. The second one is fasting. I've got a coffee, black coffee. I'm not eating till a certain amount of time. Then I eat. Then when I do eat, I have a healthy meal. I go to the gym, things like that. Okay. I'm building these habits now. Q2 is all about decentralization of the agency, as well as like really kind of like optimizing my health. Then Q3 is about decentralization and consistency of like, obviously it's going to be a big amount of growth and making sure that there's stability around that. Okay. Being aware of like staff retention, churn, new cash, marketing, all of it that goes into it. And from a business perspective. And then in terms of personal, I want to be able to be grateful and celebrate. So I'm obviously going to be in Europe during that time. I want to be able to enjoy myself as well, because yes, life is about, working towards that. And I'm very much in the frame of mind of like, okay, I got to hustle towards this. I've got to do this, but there's also a part of life and a part of things that I want to be able to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, do I enjoy my life from the day to day? 100%. I have the best fucking life. I have the best fucking life. Talk to anyone. I'll say it 100 times. I have the best fucking life. But I also want to enjoy the travels. I want to enjoy things. I want to experience things. I want to meet new people. So that's going to be a big focus for me during that quarter, is like, enjoy the time. Enjoy meeting new people. Enjoy the things, right? Enjoy the fruits of your labor. Q4 for me is moving overseas. Probably Dubai, maybe overseas, somewhere in the States, maybe Europe, or maybe just in Australia. Again, a bit undecided. At the current point in time in January 2026, leaning towards Dubai at the moment. And I want to capitalize on new opportunities. And that's where I'm really going to fucking double down. Like right now, I am doubling down. When I kind of move to overseas and to a thing, not that I'm waiting for that to happen. I guess if I'm being self-reflective, I probably am. But that's when it's like stepping up a notch even. That's when I'm like head down 2-3 years and I'm gonna fucking max shit out. So yeah, in terms of Q1 focus, it's a lot around like hitting some big record months, kind of getting myself into a really consistent routine in terms of diet, sleep, training, being just fucking healthy, right? I won't run through the rest of that there, but you kind of get the point, right? So, what are the kind of key habits that are going to get me there? Again, who am I becoming? How am I going to get there? Well, again, I'm going to be walking, all right, first thing in the morning between blocks. It's good for my mind. It's good for health. I'm going to take the time to reflect and rest. Okay, so meditate, journal, review the goals, do videos like this. All right, currently 40 minutes into this video, talking about my goals and learning and kind of self-reflecting throughout the process, right? I want to be able to be fasting and lean, okay? Fasting in terms of productivity, but also like for my health, there are numerous benefits to that. And then another big one here is my personal brand and social media. I want to be posting a video on YouTube a week, okay? Which is again what this video is. I'm trying to act in alignment with who I want to become. I want to have a personal brand so that I can meet new people, so that I can have new opportunities, so that I can share my journey and empower others. Okay, that's the whole point of why I'm filming this now. Yes, it's also to reflect on it for myself, but equally so, it's I want to be able to inspire others that see this and go, oh, Sam's just a normal guy, but he's going out there and doing this. So that's kind of that process there. And then in terms of like, you know, project health, for example, what are the inputs? Well, like I was saying earlier, calorie deficit and 15,000 steps. Got to eat single ingredient food, walk, get sun. What's the output? I'm going to feel proud of myself and look in shape, and then leverage the result. Well, I'm going to feel self-confident. I'm going to have a higher energy output. It's not just the health and the looks, but I'm also going to be able to think clearer. I'm going to be able to be more articulate. I'm going to be able to be sharper with my thinking, things like that. Okay. So, and then if I kind of zoom out in terms of the longer goals as well, what do I value? Well, community, progress, purpose, determination, connection, and being thoughtful. I want to be in the top 1%, 1% of everything. I want to be in the top 1% of business. I want to be in the top 1% shape, speaking, personal brand, whatever that may be. In the next 3 years, I want to network with industry leaders. I want to be incredibly self-aware. Okay. I want to make what is unconscious conscious. I want to be in top 1% shape. I want to foster a community of like-minded people. I want to travel around and live around the world. In 10 years, I want to build a $100 million company while still maintaining my health and lifestyle. I want to publish a book or speak at a big event. Obviously, thinking long term, I want to have a loving and supporting family, a wife. I want to optimize for ultimate freedom, multiple homes, multiple passports. I want my friends and my network to be a bunch of fucking killers in their own respective fields. Do they have to have the same whatever that I'm doing? 100% no. No, everyone's different. Everyone's got different goals and things like that. But I want to be surrounded by people that are supportive. I want to be surrounded by people that push, that don't drag me down. I don't want to be around people that inhibit my progress. Okay. And why is this all and how am I going to feel when this is done? Well, I will feel purposeful and aligned with my calling to life. I feel I am taking each day by the balls and running ahead, sprinting ahead. I will feel that I'm living up to my potential and not dwindling on what the could have beens. I will feel energetically aligned with a higher form of myself. I will feel a burning desire to empower and inspire others to feel this way, which is again, purpose of filming these YouTube videos. I'll feel proud of the sacrifice and the work I put in because I know it was not easy to achieve it. I will feel content in feeling this. I will feel proud of myself and that I trusted my future self. I think one of my biggest fears at the moment is knowing everything I know now and not doubling down on it. I know what I'm doing is aligning to how and what I want out of life. My fear is that I'm not doing enough. My fear is that I'm not going hard enough at it. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it with full 100% conviction. I don't want to half-ass things anymore. I'm sick of half-assing things because I know that when I go ahead with something with 100% conviction, that there is 0% chance that I'm not going to achieve that. So if I've got all these big goals and aspirations and I want to build a $100 million company and I want to be in the best top 1% shape, I can't half-ass things anymore. And that kind of comes onto the point of being A, relentlessly consistent, B, acting with speed and urgency, and C, not allowing the ceiling and limiting beliefs that are imposed on myself through my own thoughts and unconscious beliefs, but also through others, right? So that's kind of the step-by-step plan. So how am I ensuring on a day-to-day basis? Because Sam, yeah, this was all very high level, cool. What am I doing on a day-to-day basis? Because believe me, I don't wake up every single morning going, this is who I'm becoming. This is my step-by-step plan, okay? Like, I just don't. I'm human at the end of the day. There's days where I just want to fucking watch a bit of TV. There's days where, like, I don't want to eat clean. There's days that I just want to kick back and relax. But what I do on a daily basis to remind myself about the big picture is that's kind of what stays me on track. Because for me, the fear of not living up to my potential and kind of the points that I just ran through here, right? That fear for me of not living up to this, like, significantly outweighs any desire to indulge in things. You know what I mean? Like, I'm willing to sacrifice anything to achieve this. And that's kind of what I've come to. And why I've kind of been urged to make this video all of a sudden is that I was thinking it this morning. I was like, I just want to fucking do it. So I'm going to act with congruence and do shit. So how am I acting in congruence with who I am? Well, A, I'm making this video, which is one part. But on a day-to-day basis, what do? Well, I've got a weekly goal template. So at the start of each week or at the end of each week, I sit down and I plan for the week ahead. So tonight, I'm going to sit down and plan for what needs to be done this week to A, drive the business forward, but also ensure that I'm staying on track personally. So I have 3 big rocks. These are like, more of a personal thing, mainly something to do with diet, self-awareness, things like that. Then I've got my 5 big tasks for the week. Now, one thing I need to work on is obviously consolidating those tasks. My task list usually ends up being fucking 50 tasks. So that's something I need to work on. But again, I've got key things of like what's going to really drive the needle forward in the business. I've got quick fire tasks, things that I'm waiting on or delegated, and then things to do after the above. And then at the end of each week, I film a video reflecting on how I went in terms of health, wealth, relationships, and business. So you can see I've been doing this since September last year. So relatively new. And then the other thing I've got is my personal habit tracker. Okay. So what that looks like is this. And I'll be the first to say, I do not use this every day. I think I'm like you can see I'm like fucking 4 weeks behind on a lot of this shit. But I kind of track things like my daily intention, am I on track, self-reflection, my workout steps. Again, I'm meant to track things like sleep, there's a lot. I probably should, consolidate this down a bit more, but there's that. I also track my kind of monthly life, nutrition, my book list, like what books I'm reading at the moment, brief summary, my key takeaways, action items when I started them, things like that. And yeah, I kind of audit it and things like so. So that's what I kind of do on a day-to-day / weekly basis, as well as a daily thing to make sure that I'm actually following this all, because there's a lot, right? Like, and it can get overwhelming, but that's where you got to have clear systems, clear intent, and a clear desire. Okay. I've got a desire to become that person. So for me, doing these trackers, doing this thing outweighs the effort and being a fucking lazy piece of shit than not doing it. Okay. Like, it's very easy for me to go, oh, I can't be fucked to do this checklist or whatever, or I can't be fucked to read my thing, or I can't be fucked to read my goals. You think I get up every day and I'm like, oh, yes, can't wait to read my fucking goals. No, like it does get repetitive, right? But I know the importance, and I know the importance of being self-aware and accountable to myself, because the times that I don't do it is when I go backwards. So I've learned over the years that as long as I'm constantly thinking about it, as long as I'm making the subconscious conscious, then I'm progressing, then I'm happy. Am I always going to feel like it? No. Do I always feel like reading? No. Do I always feel like tracking down my habits and my fucking whatever? Fuck no. Fuck no. But you got to do it. You got to have that level of accountability, because coming back to the point, If you don't sacrifice for your goals become the sacrifice. And my big fear here, it's unfortunately going to come to reality. So this is kind of what I do on a day-to-day basis. I read through my personal accountability, so my things align. I submit an end-of-day report each day. I go over key business things, cash flow, marketing, a lot of business-related things there, just pulse check on things. So yeah, that's how I kind of stay in alignment with who I'm becoming. So I know it's been a long video so far. I've gone through 2025 reflection, who I'm becoming, the steps and tools and systems that I'm using to become that person. Okay. I guess the final thing is like, well, Sam, you said you've now had this realization that you want to think bigger and things like that. How are you going to do it? Well, of course, they've got these daily systems in place, but in terms of becoming that $1 million a mark point, what I'm going to do and how I'm going to achieve it. So the first thing is I need to act in alignment with who I'm becoming. So if I can act every day in alignment with that person I want to become, if I can eat, if I can think, if I can act, if I can talk, if I can dress, if I can speak, if I can speak to people, speak to clients, speak to my business partner, speak to my friends, my family, in alignment with the person that makes $1 million a month, looks like this, thinks like this, acts like this, is in shape, then it's just a matter of time until I become that person, right? Like I'm almost being delusional to the point. And being yourself is a myth. And it's a quote from Sam Ovens, right? Or at least where I recently heard from it. And am I going to get resistance from people saying, oh, the old Sam wouldn't do that? Yeah, but I don't want to be my current self. Am I happy with myself? Yeah, don't get me wrong there. But like, we're forever changing, okay? And there's nothing in life stays constant. You're either moving forward or you're moving back, okay? If anyone else thinks otherwise, you're lying to yourself, okay? We're forever changing. I mean, what? Our body's fucking cells reproduce like some stupid stat like every 7 years or something. All the cells in your body are completely different. Like, you know what I mean? Like everything's changing. Everything's movement. Everything's energy. So I just want to make sure that instead of going, backwards, I'm going up and I want to become that person, right? So how am I going to do that? Well, I need to metaphorically kill my old identity. The person that I am here, right? This person, Sam right now, on the 18th of Jan, is a completely different person to the Sam over here, okay? Who I am here is not this person, okay? This person. So what have I got to do? Well, kind of what I ran through, right? I've got to act in accordance. I've got to do the daily inputs. And that's how I'm going to become that person. And there's a lot of resistance in doing so. I even found myself last night and today and fucking every day constantly in battle between the person I am now and the person I want to become. All right. And a really good quote that I kind of think sums it up is that be constantly aware of patterns of existence. As humans, we are constantly in conflict between the person we are right now and the person we want to become. The two selves are often at war with each other and create a wave-like pattern of highs and lows. Take note of the highs and the lows and look for markers to warn you of the turns that you can catch yourself and correct them. Do not let your current self destruct the future self you are destined to become with the beliefs and actions you encapsulate. Okay, and that's a really good one there. Another one, we're not the highest versions of ourselves which we can imagine. We are the lowest version of ourselves which we can accept. Understand that you will do nothing to achieve your dreams, but fight like hell to not breach your standards. If you want your dreams and your goals, you must turn them into irrefutable standards. Be intolerable to it, okay? So that's kind of what this point here is. I need to kill my old self. Yes, there's going to be a level of resistance towards that, but you just need to be intolerable towards those standards and kind of elevate the ceiling, right? So the person that's here that may tolerate eating a bit of junk on the weekend or having a few beers here and there, or like this is me that I'm talking about right now, or, doesn't hit their steps or doesn't, get their run in or doesn't do the necessary things required to be that person, well, you're going to stay where you are, right? This person here, the person that I'm becoming, I need to act in alignment with him. If I can do so, it's only a matter of time till I become that person. It's only a matter of time till I make $1 million a month, okay? And I just need to constantly reinforce and be delusional with my beliefs, identities, and actions. Because again, coming on to this point right now, doesn't matter what is true, only what you believe is true. There's so many beliefs that I don't believe in. Okay. If I come down to here about limiting beliefs and things like that, external validation, half-assing things, thinking too small, justifying my actions, things like that. Those are kind of things that are holding me back, that are limiting me. If I recalibrate those and reverse engineer them into things that aren't true in my subconscious mind, then they're not true, because reality is just how we perceive it. You know, person A over here may think that the world is a fucking horrible place, where person B over here may think the world is a wonderful place. They're living in the same world, right? It's just how we perceive reality. Kind of going to double down on this, right, with the reinforcing, is I'm going to move to new environments and meet new people. So I want to travel. I want to move overseas, which again is one of my goals, things like that. And then I'm just going to be relentlessly consistent in tracking the basics, both personal and business. I'm going to be good at diagnosing and fixing constraints. I'm going to have all my stats ready. I'm going to be super on it in terms of business. If someone asks me something, I'm going to act with speed. Okay. I'm just going to be that person. Like I feel like I'm already doing that the last couple of weeks. I'm just acting in alignment with that person. Okay. Would the person making $1 million a month not know their business numbers? No, they fucking wouldn't. Would the person making $1 million a month second guess an expense? Would the person making $1 million a month not take the risk? No, they fucking wouldn't. So why would I do that now? Why would I be a little fucking pussy ass bitch now if I want to be the person that makes $1 million a month? And how will I do this in the business? The exact same shit. There's no secret formula. Whatever I do here needs to be done in the business. Okay. Now, I know this is about an hour-long video, very long video, probably the longest video I've ever made. But the reason for it is, well, I kind of ran through my 2025 reflection, kind of ran through who I'm becoming, who I am now, ran through the systems, tools, and things of pulse checking myself and making sure I'm acting in alignment with that. Now, I appreciate everyone watching this video if you have done so. I will be super honest here. Like, this is a very, I guess, a very hard video for me to make, because I'm being super vulnerable with this. But the whole purpose of this is to be authentic and transparent with what I'm thinking at the moment, being super honest and authentic with my goals and where I want to get to. So A, point of reflection for myself, but B, more importantly, if you've kind of taken some value away from this, hopefully it's inspired you to go and chase after what you want. So I've said it here on the internet. I'm going to review this video later. I'm going to be making $1 million a month. I don't necessarily have a set time date for that. But it's my goal now. I'm going to be in excellent shape, and fucking follow along for the journey. Drop a follow on the Instagram, Bristow on Cam, current username. Post a bit more daily stuff on there. And yeah, hold me accountable to it. Let's fucking go.